Am I live again? Am I back? I may be. Except... JK... Let's see, I'll just do this again. Boo boo boo. Ooh hoo hoo. Okay, so what we do here, you see what we do here. You delete this tweet. Delete. Oh wait, did it auto tweet? I don't know. Ah, yikes. I'm gonna tweet. Boink. Oh dearie me. Oh dearie me. Hey, I can. Hello. Thank you for the patience. Twitch.tv/FreeMocap. Hello. Okay. We're back. We're here. We did it. Yeah, sorry. I changed the name of my username on Twitch from... It was originally Professor Laser, then it became John Mathis, and now it is Free Mocap. In a effort to, triangulate upon the right way to handle these strange mechanisms for communication. But I changed it last time after the stream, and then, hello. Oh, hey, what up? Oh, sick. So cray. Hey, Zeka. Sorry, Albert. I don't stream on Friday. I stream on Thursdays. I think. It's hard to know. Kendrick. Ghostrobot. Everybody saying hello. Doesn't know I was gonna tell the world. Oh, well, it's more appropriate for Free Mocap. Hi, Mom. I think it's you can tell people what you want to tell people. Kendrick, I'm really glad that you connected with iFire, because the both of y'all are kind of and thank you, Plasma Giant. It's a regular brain. It's just it's smooth. It is a red. It is very red. I like plays with the code. I like having stuff that's not everything in our world these days is just like gunmetal gray, and I find it kind of annoying. Gunmetal gray. It's because it's all based off of the same like atom. Oh, where'd it go? Yeah, this particular is called color. It's called the Evil Red theme, which I like it. It's like high contrast and it's like red, so it's not like it's like easy on the eyes. Ooh, polar. Okay, hold on. Let me give Kendrick the response he deserves. They deserve. I don't know who you are. I'm really glad that you have connected with iFire, because the both of you are kind of on the list of people in my head that it's like, wow, these guys are like really, these folks are really trying to help out, and like I'm like, I wish I had like more time to share. So it's good that you're connected. I would love to see a showcase of your work. Maybe time. I think I can. I might be able to do tomorrow, or maybe or sometime next week. Sometime next week actually would probably be the easiest. But yeah. And it might. Yeah. Set up. Message me on Discord, and we'll figure out a time to do that. Oh, and hey, iFire. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's. I have to do like the conversion in my head of like usernames. It's like iFire Games. I don't know who that is. And it's like, oh yeah, iFire. Cool. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like, it was like, oh, I know you're really busy, and it's like, I am really busy, but like I also like really appreciate that people are interested in this project. It's interesting too because like a lot of it is not like I am busy in terms of like time, but the bigger constraint is that I'm like full in terms of like emotions. Like I just don't have the like there are enough hours in the day. There's just not enough gas in the tank, and I'm trying to like respect that aspect of myself, so that I don't burn out. So just so you know, I appreciate it when I get it, and if I ever feel like I'm not responding, it's because I had to make that decision about like where to go. And this is also important, if it ever feels like it's been going on, like if you're like, hey, you haven't heard from this guy in a while, just like send another little like gentle poke. I appreciate those because sometimes things like, you know, get washed in the deluge of life. MOA development, that's what I keep saying. Hi, Nade Nade. Yeah, it's something like I'm entering my third year. We are all red. People really like the red. I like the red too. Plasma Giant, you've asked big questions. I would like to, my goals for this project is to build a tool that allows anybody, regardless of money or technical training, to use the advances in AI and computer science to have cheap, reliable, accurate motion capture, and to be able to have the framework to allow that to expand and grow, let people develop it to whatever they need it to be, and also to use it as an educational platform to get those non-technically trained people technically trained by way of a thing that they actually want for themselves. That's what I want. And it's a long-term, multi-year like project, but like we're moving. Did I miss anybody? Polar theme. Give me some of that polar theme. What do you? Everyone's asking like questions. I'm like, someone's like, here's a nice theme. I'm like, ooh. Polar. Ooh. Light color. Oh. Ooh, that's way too bright. I'm a dark theme person. I appreciate the contrast, but I don't like that my screen is all white. It's too bright. I will stay evil red. But thank you for the recommendation. I shave my head probably about once or twice a week. Depends. I just shaved it. Like, I like take a shower before I take a stream, which is funny because like with my style, you can't tell unless you can smell me, and I know you can't smell me, but I still feel better from recently showered before people can see me on a camera. Oh man, smell-o-vision. Never. We don't need a smell-o-vision. Oh hey McGregor, thanks for following me on Data is Beautiful. My main source of viral posts. Plasma Giant. I'm a scientist. I'm a professional research, like what is it called? I'm a professor of neuroscience, like NIH funded publications, all that kind of stuff. So for me, motion capture is a scientific tool. Like I use it to study. I study the neural control of human movement, and I have been using motion capture to study human movement. But I've been doing that since 2008. So that's why I came into this. I am a professor of neuroscience, and that's a reach as well. I say neuroscience because it's the closest, but I'm a mishmash of interdisciplinary who's-its. But yeah, Plasma Giant. That's the so like this for me. This is methods building to do research, and that's kind of why I am able to like do it as like free and open source software, is because I'm funded. I've got federal funds to do my research, and so if I can develop this, Punkies loves federal funding. Probably everyone loves federal funding. But basically, if I can develop this tool as a scientific research tool, then I can get SimDubs. Hi. Thanks for also being here. But yeah, that's so like my. I don't know if that explains that. Pitgram. Oh, well, thanks Moa for bringing all these new fun people along, and Pitgram here following along. And Moa Development has been holding out, waiting to see if it would be worth the follow. And now it was. That's great. Awesome. Hello, everybody. Thanks for all joining. And Moa Development, if these are your charges, then thank you for the connection. And Silcray, Kendrick, that's awesome. I think that so one of the things, so in my research, I'll throw up some of my research. Where am I? Burp. Demo vids. That one's got sound. Shush. That's another beautiful song by my brother Paul, but I don't want it right now. Where did I put this thing? Ah, there it is. There it is. There it is. What am I even doing? No, I remember what I'm doing here. I am doing this. So, this is about Kendrick. This is about you and iFire, and because so this is mostly what my research is like visual control of foot placement during walking over rough terrain. And this project in particular was my postdoc research, and it was hard. This is all MATLAB, and I wound up learning in the course of my education and mentorship and career or whatever. I've picked up my first degree is in philosophy. That's my bachelor's degree. Yeah, you probably saw it on Reddit or here. So my first degree is in philosophy. I got into grad school by grace of God. Applied to 21 programs, got into one of them. And I started studying locomotion, and I wound up sort of picking up a lot of little subfields along the way, like psychology and neuroscience and biomechanics and robotics. And then I got into this stuff, which gets into more hardware and computer science and computer vision and then the eye tracking. And so I wound up kind of cobbling together a lot of, I've said this before, but I'm mediocre at so many things that it counts as expertise. And what I'm kind of realizing is that the place that I'm kind of sitting in now is that I've become kind of multilingual almost. I can speak a lot of languages. I can talk to computer scientists and roboticists and neuroscientists and biomechanists, and I can never compete with the specialists. I just can't. But I often don't need to. Because what I've been thinking about recently is that one of, I think, the best things I can do in this position is just connect people. Oh, hey, you're a visual scientist, you're a biomechanist, you should talk to each other. So that is to say that when I've been looking at this project and sort of thinking about mentorship and education in general, I think that a big problem with the way that we often do that is we think of the professor or the mentor or the teacher as the head. I will have you know, Albert, that was I had to approve that. The mod claimed it, but you've proven yourself trustworthy, and I think it's funny. I'll answer that question in a second, Plasma. But I think that the problem, hierarchy is, may make sense. Yeah, coordinators. basically, yeah. Yeah. It's, what was I going to say? I was saying something. Oh yeah, a non-hierarchical organization is very important, and I think that one of the main I cannot be the bottleneck. If I am, then then that's gonna get bottlenecked. So one of the things I've been kind of looking at and thinking about, as I'm looking at different models of mentorship and whatnot, I think that the best thing I can really do is just kind of facilitate people connecting to each other, and doing so in a way that's kind of autonomous, semi-autonomous, and then my job can be more I can provide assistance when I can, but roads don't need to go through me, ideally, because if all roads go through me, then again I'm the bottleneck. So all that is to say, I'm really glad that y'all two found each other and that you're working together, and I look forward to seeing what's happening. That's cool. Yeah, so it's interesting because so Kendrick / Socrae here was already working on a kind of I guess a single camera live, I think, real time live-ish Blender pipeline, which is cool, and which is super cool, and it's also notably different from what I was thinking about for the Blender add-on, which is kind of all post-processed, where it's sort of more just a loader of previously recorded data, so that you can record something through free mocap and then feed it into Blender, and then if you're an animator, then that's sort of the option there. So it's kind of a parallel stream, which again is sort of different people are going to want different things. For me as a scientist, and also probably for a lot of animators, it doesn't need to be real time. It's okay if it takes a long time to process, as long as the end result is accurate. But if you're trying to design VR applications, oh, someone asked about VR. I do have VR. I have Vive, Vive Pro, I think. Can't remember. Yeah, so if you're doing VR real-time applications, then you need real-time. But if you're doing it real-time, then you're constrained by processing speed, so you're going to have to turn the speed accuracy dial towards speed, whereas I want it towards accuracy. So it's kind of, a lot of this project is going to have to be developed in the context of sort of finding the right tool for the job. What is your use case? What do you want? How powerful of a machine do you have versus what level of accuracy do you want versus do you want it in real time or post processed? And we'll get there as a group. Cool. Yeah, this is the coolest thing that happens with this stuff is people just show up and I'm working on this awesome thing. Can I connect it to your awesome thing? It's yes, I have duct tape. Oh, that's cool. Congrats, iFire. That's one thing I'm really excited about this project is when it gets to the point where other people are using it to make stuff, oh, that's the good stuff. I've been looking into Godot engine too. It's super cool. I'm excited about getting in a cup. Cream and sugar. Not much of either. Actually, a little more cream, but not much sugar and a moderate amount of cream. Yeah, I think that's the right move. Similarly, I think that you're always going to get better tracking from multiple cameras, and I think that's going to remain true for a while. Eventually, I think the technology will get to the point where one camera does a good job, but I think we got a good little while before we'll be in a situation where you won't get any improvements to accuracy by adding multiple cameras, just because the reality of how light works if you get from multiple angles, you have more information for nailing down 3D. That said, I think for a lot of applications, a single camera is probably fine. So, naughty, keeping me on theme. Let's. Yeah, you were asking about. Yeah, I have. I got your Zed. This is a stereo camera, and you got your RealSense. That's a RGBD. Yeah. And also IMUs, I think, are going to come into this. IMUs being, that's what Rococo runs on. Pretty garbage motion capture in most contexts, but I think it's got a place at the table. Okay, naughty. Keeping me on track. Let's talk about what we're doing today. Oh, Omega 1 Spawn. Hello. Thanks for joining. IMUs, this guy's all IMUs. This is an IMU suit that I was wearing. It's basically Rococo, but an old, it's motion shadow. Hi, Magcon. I notice you. Wait, hold on. This is a heart. I think I see people do that. Also this. Hi, Magcon. OG. Here before it was cool. But yeah, so for something like this, IMUs are great because you're outside, long distance. Like, who's going to set up that many cameras until we get it working on drones? IMUs are the way to go. Problem is they're super drifty. Like, they shift around like on your spotty, and then you get like weird sort of false solves. A lot of times they solve their solutions by like guessing at what the movement is, which for as a scientist is really problematic for me. A lot of regression towards the mean kind of thing. But they have super. So the trade-off with IMUs is like they are generally low accuracy, but they're high precision. They don't have they have low noise. Neuralink, isn't Neuralink the? Is that the Elon Musk thing? Yeah, it is. Don't put that in your body anytime soon. That is an absolutely amazing piece of technology and will absolutely push neuroscience forward, but it's not useful for everyday people. If you're like a monkey electrophysiologist, you're jumping up and down, but it's not going to be something. Call it 10. Right on. See you later, Albert. And good luck with the open pose. Pupil Labs is what I use for eye tracking. For my money, the best eye tracker you can buy. Free open source, which for me is like I couldn't have made that animation. Like the other option is like Toby, who I hate. Super black box, proprietary. They won't explain how their calibration algorithm works. I couldn't have made that animation with a closed source product. So Pupil Labs are great, but they're also expensive. So I mean they're $2,000, which is actually chump change in the context of this what. Yeah, I'm absolutely gonna look up the mini pipe iris. I have a lot. We'll see. I'm excited to check it out. Okay. All right. I have seen media pipe iris looks super cool. I can probably just do this right now, and then I promise I will. How do I do this? Iris. Okay. There we go. And then I can do this. And then yeah. Yeah. Hello. Ah! Ah, come on. I'm a monster! This is my biggest problem with MediaPipe. Is it? These things always struggle with my beard, but OpenPose does better than that. I think it's because MediaPipe is based on a mesh, so I think it has a little bit too much. It focuses too hard on the priors. But the eye tracking does look. It looks good, but like realistically, like the eye trackers I have are like here. Yeah. I do think it'd be cool to build like like you could probably build something that can detect like where you're looking on the screen to some degree of accuracy. That's about the level of noise I come to expect from these kind of things. This actually does look a little noisy. I think I'm washed out on this side. And I have a beard, and I'm bald, so face trackers often struggle with all this. Oh, that's a good point. Actually, this is also probably running in some sort of really light mode because it's browser based. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. I think it's using browser. Which again, the speed accuracy thing, it's got to push towards speed. Oh, interesting. All right, let's see here. Who texted me? Guarantee you there's noise. There's always noise. Okay, let's talk about what we're going to do today. Relatively tired, but we're good. So today, I got to do the dev update, because that's what you do. Dev update. Well, in a dev update, I'm going to talk about. It's not much to really report since last week. Oh, this is actually worth reporting. I finished that stupid manuscript. Finished revision on manuscript, which isn't relevant to this product, but it is relevant to my ability to work on this product. So I'm counting that. And MediaPipe. Actually, we'll talk about moving towards alpha phase. It's a beloved manuscript, but I am so ready to see the back of it. It's the world's problem now. I've done my best. Actually, it's the manuscript associated with that. I have more funding than that. Right now, I probably have about a year or two. There's a lot of different kinds of grants. I'm funded through the NIH, through a K99/ROO grant with the National Eye Institute. And I am approaching this is the last year of it, but if you don't spend all the money, you can sort of expand it for a year. So that's my plan. And I have some money from my startup, which is basically the money that I got when I got hired at this position. So I have somewhere between realistically about 2 to 3, let's call it, yeah, 2-ish years of funding. So that's, it's enough to keep the lights on, as they say. Sort of moving to also fading with media, pipe, based tracking, world's worst GUI. I think we can make the world's worst GUI. We're going to talk about that today. Tutorials and demos. Yeah. Optimistic. You should never list a timeline, I feel like, but I'm going to do it anyway. Optimistically, end of August. End of August. Realistically, mid-September. Pessimistically, October. I know. I find I've actually, on the topic of deadlines, I have come to appreciate the role that they play in my life, and because especially in the academic world where things just kind of float, it's weird, right? Because there's always deadlines, and but often the deadlines are for things that don't matter. It's you need to submit this thing before that date, or this thing, or this conference or whatever. But then things that actually matter, like manuscripts being submitted, or research being done, or versions of software getting released, those don't have deadlines. And so if you're not careful, then the things that matter get pushed below the things that don't matter, because the things that don't matter have time constraints. I am actually very interested in the mega grant. That's something that's very much on my radar. And I think it was you that actually told me about that, and I appreciate that. That's a whole different wing of funding that I wasn't even aware about. But to go back to what I was saying before, I've gotten into the habit of making fake deadlines for myself, and I've been doing this actually since grad school. I would email my advisor and say, I'm going to have this done by Friday, and he'd be like, okay. And then Thursday would come around. I was like, oh, Brett, I need until Monday. He's like, I didn't think you. He's like, okay. So it just there's a certain psychological effect of telling people that you care about that something will be done by a given day, to sort of help push through that sort of reticence to work that we all have, because we are just lazy monkeys, apes, primates. Second tallest primate. That's us. I've been thinking about funny ways to describe humans. I used to say tall monkeys, which I think is funny but not accurate. Mycon knows what's up. Yeah, this part, right? Yeah. What I love about this is that, the grant submission, God, an NIH grant is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's 50 pages of bureaucraties. Ooh. Oh wait. Yeah, I think Yes, I have seen this. Yeah. It's great. It's good video. The rest of y'all should watch it and get hype about the future. But yeah, we'll I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of good potential there. Pessimistic. That's not spelled. How do you spell pessimistic? Also, why is there no pessimistic? There you go. Anyway, so that's a fake deadline I made for myself. Is this thing. Release date. Is there anything else I need to say? Basically just a console. Anybody want to see a cat? There's a cat. That's Pooh the cat. Come to say hello. I'm excited for when I get this thing working in cat tracking mode, because that is an option, because it uses deep lab cut. Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that there's sort of like a compression thing going on. Yeah, because it's using deep lab cut, if I just download, they have a cat tracking model already built in. Ooh, cat mocap. Come on now. Come on now. You can do it. No, skip that. There you go. Oh. Just show me the data. They probably... Oh my god, just show me the freaking data. Oh yeah, they're using... Yeah, we... Oh. Yeah. It's like, I know what a cat looks like, guys. Thank you for showing me that a cat exists. Skip past the only part with actual data in it. Alright, come on. So... Yeah, this looks like really sort of like traditional marker-based capture. They have some kind of inverse kinematic skeleton in there. It's high quality tracking, though. It's also probably $1 million motion capture lab, so. Yeah. So good for them. We could do better. I mean, we can't. I don't know if we can do better, but we can do different, and we do way cheaper. Yeah, man. That's kind of the vibe here. Like, why is motion capture so freaking expensive? Why is that technology? That's like 90s shit, man. Like, that's not modern. Like, that's like cutting edge in 95. Like, we can do better than that these days. And we're not, because of like weird capitalism. And also, like, people need to learn how these AI things work. The big part of the motivation here is like the general public needs to be trained in how this AI works, because it's going to shape the future. And if we just let it sort of be a tool for like the rich and privileged, that's not great. So this is basically like a Trojan horse for me to like accidentally teach people like about important technologies, and just provide sort of a way to leverage everyone's got a reason to want to track a person. And I think sometimes it's other people, sometimes it's themselves, sometimes it's for science, sometimes it's for art, sometimes it's just because it's fun. And I think that if we can sort of leverage that natural fascination that everybody has with humans to like build like a modern system of education that's not like based off like 200-year-old like industrial revolution age ideals for what it needs to train a human, I think that could be a powerful thing. Because I look outside and I think a lot of the problems that we see is basically a failure of the educational system. And I don't mean that as like we need to fund schools and we need to fund universities. I mean like the way we do schools and universities is broken and is not equipped for the problems that we're facing. Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard. The reality is that like I used to be kind of like annoyed at how little any of these tools like or how inaccessible they were and how hard it was to use. And then I tried to make a tool that other people could use, and I was like, oh yeah, people don't do it because it's super, super hard. Fractal headache. This is my impression of a fractal headache. So I just figured I could specialize in that. You know, like let other people do like the hard work, and I'll just try to build a platform that can, I'll try to build I just want this to be a framework to like attach things to. Anyway, I gotta focus. Because I need to record this dev update, and then I want to show you guys the world's worst GUI that I've been working on. It's not really even a GUI, it's just literally an IPython console. But like, I think that's actually not a bad model. Like I kind of long term basically Blender with Blender, like what's the word? Duct taped to spider. That's my dream GUI. Yeah, like Blender add-ons and spider add-ons. Those are good superpowers. Why not PyMGUI? That's a very good question. Again, because you make a good point that I will talk about in 1 second. PyMGUI. Ooh. Why not PyMGUI? What are you doing? You're telling me you're gonna make an image-based GUI and there's not a fucking picture on your front page? What's wrong with you? Where's your heart? Where's there be a picture here? Oh. I was gonna do PyQt5. I'll show you what I have. GUI and Godot sounds interesting. There's so many options out there. I think first pass is going to be PyQt5, but I love the idea of a GUI, of a Godot-based GUI. I don't know. Oh. Ah, I see. Oh, I see. That's cool. No, it's not at all. I like it. I'll put it on the list. Unreal Engine looks really powerful, but like it's kind of interesting. There's like seems like there's a gradient. You got like super powerful like AAA game style, like, you know, high-end expensive on the Unreal side. Then you got Unity, which is kind of like a weird mix of like free and not free. And then now apparently there's also Godot, which I'd heard of, but I didn't really know much about it until you popped up iFire. But that's like, you know, MIT license. So like, you know, my goal eventually is to have things here like broadly compatible with everything. But my intuition, my natural inclination is to steer towards the free or open versions. So although I want to have Maya support, I'm more interested in Blender support. And although I want to have Unreal Engine support, Godot looks really cool because of the free open source. So we'll see. But right now I'm kind of focusing a lot of stuff on like as pure Python as I can get it, just for like broad compatibility. What are you doing here? Yeah, I think the right tool for the job kind of thing that's the goal. And again, my particular use case is that of a scientist. So like when I look at things like Blender, I think as someone who studies human movement, I think if Blender had a Python IDE attached, like I know they have the scripting tab, but like an actual IDE, then that would be the tool that I would want to use to study people. That's not necessarily the tool I would want to use to build a video game. So this is why I'm kind of, a lot of what I'm doing here with the open source thing is kind of just like noticing which communities are interested, and trying to figure out like what each community is, what they want, like what do the different communities want. Okay. Blender is okay. Blender is actually kind of part of the I don't know if this project would exist if not for Blender, meaning that like I was really impressed. Like Blender was aspirational to me. Like I sort of discovered it and sort of like found the history and was just like, it's kind of like, oh, like open source. Like open source is really the model. Like, like the scientific model I feel is pretty broken right now. Like, and it's been completely subsumed by like universities and journals, and like it's not serving people. And then you have, Blender, this like free open source, like massive distributed project. And I discovered it right at 2.8. And I'm just kind of looking at that and I'm like, this is the way we should be doing things, not what we're doing. Like, and I say we, I mean like scientists. Like the open source model is the model. And the current academic science model is broken and exploitative. Like I hate it, frankly. Kendrick's caught the vibe. Same with mocap, BLM 3D, showing up out of nowhere, popping in from the lurking corners, knows what's up. Let me see this, clicking on this link. Ah. Interesting. It's nice. I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. I'm gonna do this dev update. 2 minutes. 2 minutes is the goal. I can do 2 minutes. And what do we do here? Put this there. We'll put that there. I would use an MS Paint. Another GUI possibility that I really am interested in is so rich Python. Spider ID. It's like sort of like data science focused Python IDE. I like it a lot. I don't use it as my IDE programming preference because I feel like it's almost a little bit too training wheels for me. Like it helps you a little bit too much in ways that I think actually can be hindering for like learning like the deeper aspects of code. But I like Spider a lot. It's actually, I think, if you're someone who, like me, is transitioning from, it's true. If you're someone who's transitioning from MATLAB and trying to get into something, trying to like start using Python, Spider I think is the easiest way to go, at least that I've found. But then there's also Notepad, which is obviously endgame. But there's this. So this guy Will McCugan, has been developed. So this is rich, and it's super cool, and it allows like a lot of really great formatting, just like in the console. Will McCugan, and he's been working on this textual, which is like an advancement from there to build these like, text-based like fully like this is like all in like the command window. Yeah, fractal headache. That's I think that's what it's good for. My advice to you though, however, is once you start getting comfortable in it, like consider transitioning towards something like VS Code, just because like I think that Spider it feels like it's got like a couple extra training wheels on it. Like when I was working with my grad student, he was using Spider, and then he would send me code that didn't work for me because Spider was like doing things like replacing backslashes with forward slashes automatically, like helpful stuff. But if you don't know that it's doing it, then you're sort of missing out on like understanding the deeper aspects of things. But I do like Spider a lot, and it's also free open source and yada yada. Yeah, no, I mean stick with it if it's doing the job for you. Stick with it. But But I know I could imagine a world where I'm building some kind of like there's like a console. PyCharm seems really nice to me too. Yeah, VS Code is kind of becoming a standard. The problem I have with PyCharm is that they do the thing where they hide basic usage behind a paywall, and I can't support that. Like, I don't mind it if you're going to make me pay for your software, but don't hide basic usage behind a paywall. Like, I'm not gonna live that life. It's JS, is it? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna do this dev update. Okay, let's see. Record. What am I gonna say? So I finished working on 2020. It's August 12th. Is that right? The world is challenging. Open source. Gotta love that open source flavor. Like stuff is like, oh, it doesn't really work as well as I want it to. It's like, yeah, because it's hard. It's hard to make anything. Okay. Focus. Jim Croovy. I'm not going to Google that because I have to focus. As much as I want to Google that. Focus. Okay. So, August 18th, make some notes. They finished the manuscript. Not relevant to y'all, but is relevant to y'all. Moving towards alpha. We're going to have a media pipe. Let's pick this one up. Tutorials, demos, documentation, world's worst GUI. Honestly, like talking to you makes this successful. This is mostly like this is part of my my concern about spreading my I know that I can't always be on. I know that I can't respond to everything in the Discord server while also doing the other things I have to do for my life. So I'm trying to keep this point here is like this Twitch session is like an opportunity for people who want to come talk to me, because I can. This is compartmentalized, right? This is like an hour or two per week. I can do that. But that said, iFire. What I mostly want to do is I want to record the dev update, and I want to like show you my shitty GUI, which is literally just an IPython console with some checkboxes that don't do anything. And then we'll see where we're at. Okay. I'm going to turn this music down. It's a little... Okay, sounds good. I won't be on for much longer. I tend to kind of lose steam for my day at around 6, and then I just have to like turn it off and like melt into a puddle for a while. Okay. I'm not going to read that. I want to, but I'm not going to. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is the Free Mocap developer update for the week of August 12th. It's not a huge ton to report. I finished revisions on the manuscript I was working on, which is not directly relevant to Free Mocap, but it is relevant to my ability to work on Free Mocap, so I count that as progress. And the other thing is that we are moving towards the alpha phase of this project, which is very exciting. Arguably, it's still going to be janky as hell, but it's going to be sort of the first. The goal is to have something that that other people can realistically use. It's going to have media pipe based tracking, which is Apache 2, which gets away from like the weirdness of OpenPose's license. And also we'll work on non-NVIDIA graphics cards and like reasonable computers. We're going to have tutorials, demos, documentation as much as we can. That's obviously always a work in progress, but we're going to have non-zero of those by alpha. And also maybe the world's worst GUI, which is really probably just going to be like an IPython console, like a standalone thing that has sort of like that with buttons to just input commands into the console directly to run the code, which is not a great GUI, but it does the job and kind of builds towards that the dream of making a standalone GUI that kind of like shows a lot of the underlying workings in a way that we can build off of. Long term, basically, I want like something like Blender duct tape to Spider is kind of my vision for the future. Release date, who knows? But I'll just say some dates to light a fire under my ass. Optimistically, we could have something by the end of the month. More realistically, probably something like mid to late September. And pessimistically, October. If it takes longer than that, something bad has happened, but bad things happen, so who knows. Trying to keep this under 2020 for Twitter, under 2 minutes 20 seconds for Twitter, and I'm gonna do some demos on the stream. Thanks for your interest. See you next week. Bye. How do I turn you off? Okay, bye. Okay, smooth. Smooth enough for government work. God help us. So easy to use exe in Blender, so you can add webcams while still working with just one. Yes, Kendrick, you've caught the vibe. That's sort of modular and extensible is kind of the idea. A big part of it that I mentioned this to someone at some place at some time, but kind of like an easy way to like attach new tracking softwares as they come out. That's a lot of the under the hood stuff, like the way that the reconstruction works and all that. But because reality is that they're just going to keep coming out with new ones, like OpenPose, MediaPipe, AlphaPose, Simple X or whatever. Like there's just going to be more and more of these things. So I don't want to build too heavily reliant on any one of them because, the world keeps making more. Yeah. Not I don't know. My actual sort of my professional goal is to like move all of my like sort of blend all of my projects together. So even the stuff that doesn't directly relate to free mocap, I want to sort of have like wrap up. Oh yeah. I think they're talking about like the project that they are working on that has become sort of parallel with this one, and so Kendrick, my advice, which you should feel free to ignore, based off my own personal strategy, is to focus on your own use case first. Like, what do you want, and build that. Because if you do that, then at least you'll get what you want. And then I think the trick there, like the secret sauce there, is to, while you are pushing the project towards your own needs, be aware of what's happening in the periphery and on the sides, and that will allow you to kind of shift your work around in ways to keep it compatible with people like me in projects like this and projects like Godot. So like as you're moving towards your own goal, you go like, oh, if I just do this one thing here, then all of a sudden it's compatible with this thing there. Or if I do this one thing here, it'll make it easier to attach to this thing later. And I think that's got to be the goal, because if you completely drop your own goals to sort of like merge with someone else's project, then you run the risk of like dissolving into that project. And I think it's important to maintain a sense of like why you were making that to begin with. Like, you were making that before you found out about this, and you were making it for a reason. So make sure that you're serving those goals while you're working on this, even if you're working in the context of merging with this project. Like, make sure you're serving yourself while you're doing it, and that you're on a short path to getting the thing that you wanted first. And doing it in the open will merge itself. Like, we will merge these things together, but I want to make sure that you like keep moving in the direction that is motivating to you. But it's great to be thinking about the future. Yeah, awesome. And also, like, there's a lot of convergence there, so that's great. Sensor fusion, I have a little bit of, I know how it works. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, let me do this thing. Oh, God, I don't even know if it'll work, to be honest. Where was it? Where was this? I'm getting tired. I think this was actually in a different folder. It wasn't a different folder. It was in Qt Playground. And I think it was this guy called Test GUI over here. Hey, Tropical Geek. Who am I? Am I Professor Laser? Or am I John Mathis? Or am I Free Mocap? No one will know, because I keep changing my name. I think I'm going to stick with Free Mocap for a while. This seems like the right move. Oh, right, yeah, because it just popped up. It's like, what the hell is that? Who's that name? I think I need to stop changing my name. It's definitely not great. But I think in terms of, oh, man, Free Mocap's this guy up here. I haven't seen you in a while. It's been a while. But Free Mocap is the free motion capture software that I've been building with my team. Professor Laser was cool, but it was not it was a little too abstract. It was also, people kept thinking I was a laser physicist, which I'm not. The lasers refer to like the gaze laser, like the eye tracking. That was a little abstract. That's the one. That is the one. Exactly. This is why it's called Free Mocap and not Open Mocap. It was originally called Open Mocap, and then Free just kind of says what it is right there on the tin, you know. And as my brother said, if you show me two things, if you show me Open Mocap next to Free Mocap, I pick Free Mocap first every time. especially in a world where like I feel like there's just so many people out there trying to make a buck off of like new AI and human tracking, and it's just like it's free. It's free on the name. You can't like I don't know. I guess Open AI sold and is now it used to be open and now it very much is not open, but it's still called Open AI, which seems someone should sue them. Can we sue them about that? That just seems wrong. Yeah, like we should be able to sue them for false advertising. I think we should. I think as a society we should just get together and sue Open AI, just for fun. Cause fuck them. Okay, here's this GUI. I think. Let's see if this works. I think if I do this, what are you gonna do, buddy? Oh, you're stuck. Oh, because I put a breakpoint. That's my fault. I asked you to do that. This is the fun thing about computers, is when they break, it's usually because you told them to. Okay, now try that. That's not the one I wanted. Is that the one I wanted? I think it was called Test GUI. What is you? What are you? Yeah, see? Look at this. Technically a GUI. So, this is literally just an IPython console. I gotta do this in a way. Yes, this is in fact Professor Laser. That I have concerns about this person's cornea, but I do love it. It is in fact a good representation of my work. I just hope they clean those things. So this is it's called it's Pupil Labs, and it's I actually usually have one right here, but I don't have it right now. It's about $2,000 for the headset, which in the world of motion capture, in the world of eye tracking, is like dirt cheap. The next one up is 5 figures. The hardware costs money. The software is free. No, I'm not. I am incapable of doing that. Right now, the goal for the GUI, I want a GUI because I want this to be usable by people that don't know how to clone a GitHub repository. So this I can wrap in as like a download. And then what I really want, so check it out. Think of the future, right? Think of 1 to 5 and 10 years from now. Right now I'm planning on the scale of like a month or two, but I'm thinking on the scale of a decade. So, yeah, it's good to have multiple time scales in mind. This is the month scale. So this is just a Python GUI, right? So you can, f equals 9, f 9. There you go. And it has free mocap in it already. So import free mocap as FMC. I think that works. Yeah, it works. Yeah. And so now, to run free mocap, you can say fmc.runme. And then you get all these options here, right? So this is the kind of thing. So there needs to be more documentation here, right? Obviously. But like a lot of, so there's this run me function in free mocap, and it takes certain parameters that could use some work. So for example, like use OpenPose equals true. That means use OpenPose. Use MediaPipe equals false. That means don't use MediaPipe. Eventually we're going to switch those once MediaPipe starts working. Use DLC equals true. I am 1,776 millimeters on average. You know when you've met someone If you ever meet someone that knows their height in millimeters, then you know someone that works with motion capture. It's not. I'm not actually like your height is not precise to that level. Your height fluctuates day by day and throughout the day. But 1776 is an easy number to remember, and I've plugged it in to many motion capture system many times. Anyways, millimeters. Yeah. In hiking boots. Yeah. Okay, so if you just run me, it runs it with the default parameter sets. But I think what I want to do for this, what I really want to do for this, let's do this real quick, and we'll do run me, we'll do stage equals 1. Stage is like processing stage. The name could use some work. It's not particularly clear right now. But stage 1 means it starts from the beginning, meaning it's going to start by recording something. If I was running to reprocess something that had already been recorded, I could start at a later stage. But let's do something. Let's do open pose. Let's see. Use open pose equals false. So good point. And then use media pipe equals true. Oh, and also use DLC equals false, because Deep Lab Cut fails in this thing because it gets upset. I don't know. Javasaurus Studios. I am drinking. Why did we call coffee Java? I actually don't know the answer to that. And I also don't know how to program in Java, but I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that your username has a reference to dinosaurs in it. I think that's great. Dinosaurs are terrible lizards, but I think you're great. Are we all friends? Oh, hey, nice. What is my volume? I don't know. Like, am I quiet? We all start somewhere. Dinosaurs are great. Okay, let me keep doing this. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. You never know with audio. My volume. My volume is approximately 80 liters. On the assumption that I am roughly the density of water, my volume is approximately 80 liters. What do? I do this. Okay, I'm gonna do this. So right now I'm configuring at sea level. Yeah, median sea level, not mean sea level, or not, like, which are different. We could have a whole conversation about sea level, but I'm trying to focus here. Sea level is actually a really interesting concept. Like, how do you who chooses? And actually, countries with mountains will often try to lie about they'll adopt a different method for determining sea level to make their mountains look taller. So you can Google how sea level is determined. I told myself I wouldn't talk about that. So basically right now I'm configuring FreeMoCap to run with just a certain set of parameters, which is a pretty chill way to do that. The problem is that you have to know to do that. So eventually, these checkboxes literally do nothing right now. They just click. And then this button also literally does nothing right now. I think it throws an error. Actually, it doesn't throw it. It just doesn't work. So what I really want to do for the world's worst GUI is set something up that's like this, where you can basically choose what you want to do, and it will kind of it will construct a command that looks like this, and then send it to the console when you click the button. And in that way, it will. Thank you. And the goal there is that if you open this up and you've never seen code before and you're afraid of code, like something like this gives you like a panic attack, which that's a lot of people. A lot of people don't understand code, and people who do understand code are generally bad at explaining it, because once you understand it, it becomes intuitive. It's like math. We're bad at teaching math because once you understand it, you forget what it was like to not understand it. So something like this, if I were to get this to work, I think would be a good way of building a interface that is welcoming. There's always work, Javasaurus. It's just, you might have to leave the buggy whip factory, but there's always going to be work. So the ideal will be that if you show up to this project and you're afraid of code, if you don't know what code is, you've never seen it before, it's intimidating, and it's not intuitive, then if you do something like this, then people know how to click boxes, and if you can make this sort of button like big and obvious enough, then the person can do that. But then when they do it, it generates this. So the hope is that if you build systems like that, then people who come in and know code and know software can get to work immediately. People who don't have basically an inroad that allows them to sort of like have a seat at the table, play the game, click the button, see the cool thing. But as they do that, they see that, oh, when I click this button, it just does this. And when I click the box that says use OpenPose turns from false to true. People are smart. Like, I know we say people are dumb, but people are smart. And like, if you can get people, I will. 30 seconds or less. But I think if you can make a tool that lets people with no knowledge play the game, and in so doing, you just show them the inner workings, and then in not too long, they'll become more comfortable with it, and then they'll start playing with it. That's the goal. That's the vibe. And now I will push enter so that Kendrick doesn't lose their mind. And now I push enter. And I don't know if it'll work. Let's find out. Go. Wait. Go. Oh, yeah. And so now now when that happens, it thanks, Javasaurus. So now it just pops up the internal GUIs. Like, the code itself has a bunch of internal GUIs that need more. They need more. It's currently pretty. You have to know how it works. But this one is select your cameras. I currently have 3 cameras attached to my computer. I have 4. Come on. But this one's blocked. So 0, 2, and 3 are the ones we're going to use, and we're going to do setup and not record, because we're going to make sure that we like the settings. Submit. Now we're going to do this. For things like OpenPose, it's actually really important. Actually, for any of these, even MediaPipe, you want the recordings to come in with a person upright. So if I were doing something like this to get more of a like a vertical view, like the juggling guys above were all recorded with a 90-degree rotation, you have to rotate the videos before you send it to MediaPipe, or MediaPipe won't know what you're looking at. So all of these cameras are not rotated, so that's good. Resolution 640 by 480, we're going to stick with that. And then the exposure, yeah. 100% Kendrick. And like, animation is actually a really interesting one for me, because it's like right at the interface of like art and technology. And like, a lot of CG animators, they have like a deep intuition about like really intense like 3-dimensional geometric mathematics and like, computer hardware and display and software, all that stuff, but they don't know how to translate it into like code and programming and stuff like that. And so a lot of these people will convince themselves that they're non-technical people, when in fact they're doing really intense technical stuff. So again, I think it's important to like allow those threads to connect. But yeah. So exposure, is +1. So the most important number on here really, I mean, they're all important, but exposure is really important. We can do this in a better way, obviously, but you want the exposure to be as low as you can get it, so that the shutter is of the camera, digital shutter, is open for a short amount of time, so that way you get less blur. Because blur, you can see my hand blurring. How are you going to track a blurry hand? Like on a given frame, my finger is a blur. So where do you draw the mark? If you can't do it, the computer can't do it. So you need to adjust your settings so that the shutter is open for shorter. So as you're moving your hand, it doesn't travel a long distance while the shutter is open, so you don't get blur. The trade-off, of course, is if the shutter is not open for very long, you need more light. Otherwise, your images are dark. But luckily, I have lights, so hopefully we'll be okay. -5, I like to be around the space of like negative. They would be, but it's actually not so much the frame rate defines the maximum exposure. So if it's 30 frames per second, you cannot have the frame for open for longer than 33 milliseconds. For 60 FPS, it's half that. But you can set, so like if you're a 30 FPS camera, where each frame is a space of 33 milliseconds, you can set the exposure so the camera's only open for like 2 milliseconds of that time, and it just waits for the rest. Higher FPS recordings give you smoother movements because you just have more data points, but the exposure is somewhat independent of that. But good question. Let's set that to 7. I think we can do 7. There is actually a let's see, OpenCV exposure milliseconds. There's a table someone came up with where the numbers are correspond to the actual exposure time. -7 means the shutter is 7.8. You could use a strobe light. Problem with that is, first of all, it's like not great to look at a strobe light, and secondly, you'd have to synchronize the strobe light with the shutter of the camera, which can be done, but is hard. So we're doing software solutions for now. Yeah, all dark with a strobe light. Right on. Yeah. Infrared is an interesting solution to a lot of these problems because humans can't see infrared, which means you can blast them with incredibly bright infrared light and they don't go blind. All cameras are using a stop motion effect. Like this is one of the important things about video analysis, is like a video is just a stack of images. You would need IR cameras, but you're actually most cameras actually are sensitive to infrared. If you point your cell phone camera, they can be. Anyways, let's focus. A more precise way to say what you said, Micon, is an IR camera is a camera sensor that is sensitive to light in the 800 to 1000 range, which most RGB cameras, the red sensor is sensitive to that range, but we put an infrared blocker filter on it to block that light. So what you can do is just open up the camera and pull that filter off, and then all of a sudden you could see infrared. You could also replace that filter with one that blocks visible light and allows infrared light, and then you have an only IR camera. Options. It's a good question, Moa. A lot of the stuff is not intuitive. Okay. So now we're doing, so the current task is set up here. Yeah. This is why we're using cheapo webcams right now. It's the same vibe. Accessibility. Because one more thing before I move on with this. There are a lot of ways to make this easier with specialized hardware. like a lot of this like 3D reconstruction would be way easier if I was using Intel RealSense, or I have like $250,000 worth of motion capture equipment in my lab, and that makes this real easy. But the challenge here is to see like what can we do with what is the cheapest possible viable motion capture system we can make, and then once that works, hardware solutions can be built on top of that. But if you make something that relies on hardware solutions to work, you can't necessarily. I mean, it's just my job, man. Like that's my life. I'm a research professor, and that's what that means. But like, it's deeply problematic in a lot of ways. I have a lot of moral qualms about my position at a American research university. That's a whole other conversation that I don't want to have on camera. Anyways, so we click setup. And, oh no, this one's black. Why is it black? It's because because I forgot to open the shutter. Hey guys. So this is the setup phase. It looks okay. You can see it's a little dark because that's down. But I have these. It's still, which this should work. There's some shadows, which isn't ideal, particularly on my ear, mostly because the light's all coming from the same direction. And excuse me. No, same place. These, I don't even think they have a name. They're just, what even are they? It says model N5. Wait, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. They were $20 on Amazon. I've used a bunch of different models. In my experience, if it costs about $20, it works. I got several models are at around $8 to $9. They didn't work. I don't know why. Hold on a second. I'm gonna turn on another light because you can see, like this. There's no light coming from behind, so like there's a bunch of hard shadows here. So I'm gonna try to fix the lighting a bit. Professional mocap makers actually do hate me. All right. So that's actually, well, that should be fine. I don't think it's necessary for the webcams to all be professional, to be identical. I haven't really tried mixing the models, but as long as they can be controlled by OpenCV and they're capable of, like if you have a 60 FPS camera connected to a 30 FPS camera and you ask it to record at 60 FPS, you're gonna have a bad time. Anyways, this should be good. I turned those down because it was pointing straight at the cameras, which might cause problems. And this setup looks pretty good. I'm satisfied enough with that. I don't love these shadows, but I think it should be fine for what we're doing. I also don't think the visualization still doesn't really work very well, so it's fine. We're just, we're here for the vibe. And I don't think I've actually pushed an entire recording through this GUI, so we'll see how that works. We have shown in previous streams that you can calibrate with just this sort of 8.5 by 11. What do you call it? A4, I think, for the non-Americans. Straight regular old printed Taruko board on a piece of cardboard, so it's flat. And so this is not documented, but to close out of these, you have to push escape. And then this pops up, which proceed to recording with this session ID. It gives you this sort of auto-generated session ID. Yeah. In America, we call those 8.5 by 11. I don't know, because I don't know, the A system of naming papers is just too cool for us, so we just use inches. This is defining the session ID. That's going to basically be the folder in the data folder. Okay. So we're going to call this Twitch, because what's up? Current file path is there. So we got to fix this to be a little better, but there's is there stuff in here? I don't want that one. I want let's see. Yeah, this one. So this is, you basically select the folder that has the sessions. These are all previously recorded sessions. So I'm going to select this one. Oh, but I think this is not ideal, but I think it wants you to select the outer folder, like the folder that contains the data folder, because if I selected this folder, it would make another one in there. Again, we'll work on this. But I think it wants to do this. Yeah, okay. Wait. No, choose where to create your data folder. I think... Ugh, god damn it. Much Charles just subscribed. Thanks for subscribing. It's still such a shock to me. And it's so unexpected that it's still using the default Streamlabs animation. So thank you, Much Charles. You don't have to say anything, because you seem like someone who appreciates your silence. Okay. You could do that. I think this is what you want. I think this is right. It's a lot of work to be done. And I think if I say proceed, then it will start recording. So this is, again, not ideal. This needs to be here where it wants to be in the first 2 seconds. The walking protein GIF, it's just a million years ago. I don't remember. I was like Googling like locomotion stuff. It's like a beautiful visualization of how muscles work. I think it's like a Titan protein, and it's just so saucy. He's such a saucy guy. But I ripped it off the internet. It's not mine. It's a visualization that was made by some cool person somewhere. Okay. We'll see if this works. Oh, cool. I didn't realize that. Anyways, we're going to start recording soon. And go. Oh. Alright, that should work. Okay. And now I'm going to do this. Classic, classic, classic. Do we have hands? Do we have a face? Can we do this? That's plenty. Then you push escape. And now we see what happens. Ah, okay. So all of the sort of output... Yes. Kendrick knows what's up. Muscle physiology, another field that I don't know anything about. I'm very excited about... I'm actually pretty happy with how this is working so far, by the way. This is literally the farthest I've ever taken this through the GUI. Obviously, the GUI is going to have a big skull on it, in case anyone was wondering. This is probably the most useful thing that we've actually legitimately built. This is comparing the timestamps of the cameras that were recorded. There you go. Look at us talking about muscle physiology, biochemistry. So this is showing that the cameras all recorded well. There was a little drop. Like, one of the cameras froze at the end, which is why you get this frame that was 10 times longer than it should have been, but that's the last frame, so it should be fine. Some of this stuff is vestigial and needs to be fixed, but this shows me that there was a good recording. So I say proceed. If this was not a good recording, one of these lines would be a very different slope. Or there would be big hitches in it or big gaps. Again, work needs to be done on this, but I can look at this and say, these were good recordings. Thank you. So now that we have verified, yeah, Do you know why they don't have this in pro software? Is because if it's not open source, they have a business model that is predicated on their users not understanding how the software works. Because if you understood how it works, then you would know how to make it yourself. So that's one of the advantages of making this open source is like, I want you to understand every single part of this. Like, I want the users to, through time, know how this technology works inside and out. And I don't want you to have to learn that first. I want you to learn that while you are doing it. That's what I want. We'll get there. Anyways. The two stripes here, that's complicated. I actually don't understand how that works. Okay, so I'm happy with this. So I say proceed. Proceed. And then what happens? And then we wait. Again, we're off the map here. So is it not responding? So eventually we're going to want to do this thing in a multi-threaded way, and I'm going to want it to like tell you, like, as you're processing through stages. It looks like it is running properly, but it's outputting to this terminal and not this console. So thanks, Blend3D. I'm glad you like it. It's just be happy. I promise. If you like it now, oof, wait till you see where it's going. Because I don't know where it's going, but I know it's going somewhere. If you like this, you can definitely like but if this looks good to you, you'll just, it's going to look better. DDY. Ni hao. Camera locations in the data. Also, what if the camera moves, will go haywire. Thanks. Me too. Thanks, Javasaurus. I'm glad you like it. Oh, okay. So we failed a little bit. We'll get to that in a second. It very much assumes that the cameras stay fixed during the recording. It does save camera calibration. Soon you'll be able to use a previous calibration. Oh, you invited them over there. Yeah, nice. So we've failed in some way here. Good night, Java. Some dumb thing, but it actually tells you right here why. Good night, Natty Natty. Thanks for stopping by. 6 hours away from me. So this is a dumb bug. This is not an interesting bug. Session has no attribute enamel path. It should, but we'll figure that out. But I've shown how this works in previous streams, and I am also getting a little tired. And I'm curious about why it failed in this route. Oh, Java's in the Netherlands. Hotus Dominus Albertus, he's also in the Netherlands at the Vrije University in Amsterdam. So maybe they could be friends. Something wrong with the Twitch session name? Oh, that's possible. I don't think so, but it's possible. More likely, it's a problem with the run media pipe. Run media pipe stuff is new, and it's not too long. And I've certainly like customized that thing, and I always use underscores. It's just like how I do. So session ID underscore Twitch is not the issue. It's something dumb. It's just some ad order thing. But so let's say, for example, so here's what we can do. So now we had a session fail halfway through. Oh no. So what I can do is, because I think the problem was with media pipe, I can turn media pipe off by saying media pipe equals false, and then set open pose true. And then because I don't want to restart the recording from the beginning, I'll set the stage to equal. Let's see how far we got in this. I think we want to start at stage 3. Yeah, so there's the who's it? The guy. What's his name? The thing. What's it called? Folder. That was recorded the underscore Twitch, and you might be right, but it's still something weird did happen. But let's see. So calibration. The calibration video did happen. The calibration happen? Oh, it did. Directory. Thank you. So it did calibrate. That's interesting. So so apparently the calibration was not writing, because the calibration step does a lot of stuff. It like puts a lot of stuff in the terminal, or in it prints a lot of stuff. And we weren't but that point where it was frozen and spinning, I think, was when it was running the AnyPose based camera calibration. So it's interesting that they didn't get written anywhere, and that we'll see about that. Great, thanks Kendrick. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the interest in the work. But let's see if we can run this real quick using OpenPose. So basically what this will do, because I'm not specifying the session ID, it will just pick the last one. And I think I can just say go. The cardboard, I think the cardboard was successful because it has this. Yes, okay, there you go. What's up? So it just picked up that same recording. The bug we saw was with media pipe, so I turned media pipe off and turned OpenPose on, and now it's running media pipe. And the cardboard, I think, did work. The problem is that this takes forever, and so it's not going to be done, unfortunately, by the time I run out of steam here, because we're getting 2.6 frames per second. We have 3 videos. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll make it through. But the cardboard did work, which I can tell, because the cal videos, which is short for calibration videos, we're going to change the name of that to be the full name, has it basically pulled out these like 2-second clips and did the track. These are the kind of things I want to have more like explicit like debug plots for these to show that it is in fact tracking, and it just draws the. Okay, sorry. I appreciate that, Micon. I often lose track. This is actually a problem. This is a problem with humans. Is you become acclimated to everything. So even though this was enough to like absolutely floor me when I first saw it, I've now seen it too many times. So now I'm just like, oh, it is what it is. But you're right, like 2.7 frames per second is pretty good. And also this is magic. To be clear, like this is magic that we're looking at right now. Like the fact that it's just like tracking me from a raw video and doing a pretty good job because I pushed a button a couple times. Utter and complete magic. But you can see what's happening, right? Yeah, and also like I'm streaming to a bunch of people like literally around the world while this like intense AI thing is happening in the background. You can see it's like my computer is like not loving it, but it's doing a pretty good job. You can see the blur. I don't know if you can see it through OpenPose, but it's not tracking this hand. It's doing okay. It's making some mistakes. It's doing its best. You're right. Thank you, Micon. I shouldn't forget about how cool this is. It's easy to forget. But to answer your question, the calibration did work because, first of all, if it had failed, it would have failed before it got to MediaPipe. And I also know because this calibration.yaml here, this is the camera information. So camera 0, it is very good. And it works so hard. I feel like we should be empathetic to the task. Like, we're like, oh, it's not tracking very well. It's like, man, like, it's doing its best. Humans, man, we just adapt. We adapt to everything. We do it so fast. But anyway, so this little file. Oh, and it's on the third video already, so we should be able to. We'll I actually don't know what the state of things are, but we'll see where it gets. But this is showing the camera calibration data. These numbers are how we translate the two-dimensional estimates that you get from your open poses into 3D reconstructions. So you have the camera matrix, which is a 1, 2, 3 by 3 matrix. That sounds wrong. I guess that's it's a rotation matrix, I guess. The distortions are doing some correction for like fisheye. Yeah, exactly. Let me tweet about it from this like slab of silicone that I can use to communicate with like geosynchronous orbit. But yeah, and then so these are the so this is this here is the 6 degree of freedom position of the camera. 3 XYZ locations and then 3 rotations. Hello, Mordricker. Nice to see a new name in the chat. See, look how much better OpenPose does with my mouth opening wide than MediaPipe, for them who've been around the whole time. But yeah, I mean, you could totally like imagine. So like the Simple X people, like Michael Black over in Tübingen, they do a lot of like volumetric tracking. So rather than doing a lot, what this is doing is called key point tracking. Hold on, this is gonna blow some people's minds. There you go. So this is just a different visualization of the key points that it's tracking. Like it's got my eyes and nose and my shoulder. And then this, oh, where'd it go? Oh, it's already finished. Thank you. So it's doing key point tracking. And, but you have sort of correctly intuited that that's not far away from doing what I call volumetric tracking. Other people probably call it that too, but I call it that. Oh, how are we doing here? Oh, hey, look at me. Look at me go. That's me. You know, not the world's best quality, but like, hey, not too bad. But yeah, you could imagine like making sort of like fitting a mesh, like building like a 3D thing, and then have this mesh model can be whatever you want, whatever texture you want on it. That seems that feels in approach. And there's people, Michael Black in Tübingen, Simple X I think is his thing. They're working in that space. Oh yeah, look at all that. See, so now it's like it's that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Thanks, Tropical Geek. Okay, let's see here. So now, look at this. Look at this. So now we're back here in this directory, and we go into here, and then then you got everything here, right? So you got the calibration videos, So you got the raw videos. Those are the original videos with the timestamps. That's how we synchronize it. You got the synced videos. Each of these videos is the same duration, same number of frames, and the frames are synchronized. So, Micon, you have correctly identified a potential future for this. So right now, it does indeed handle everything kind of serially. And this is the processing. This is how it processes. I'll share this online at some point. But basically, it does each thing in stages. And like, there's a recording stage, and a synchronization stage, and a camera calibration stage, and a tracking stage, and a reconstruction stage, and then a visualization stage, which works really well for like if you want to basically devote all of your resources to recording the videos well and accurately, so that they can be reconstructed, so that if it fails halfway through, like it did for us, you can restart it. But this will never give us real time because it's all happening after the fact. If we wanted to adapt this into like a real time system, you'd have to basically be doing, like pulling individual frames and pushing them through this pipeline. So this is sort of part of as I've developed complex sort of research methods in the past, I have a couple of simplifying things. When I'm trying to make something that doesn't exist yet, I have a couple of simplifying assumptions or like strategies. And the rule number one is the first pass. Only I can use it. Like the first pass, I don't try to make it usable for anybody. I just make it work for myself, and then make it more usable after the first thing works. The other one is the first pass is not real time. The first pass is post-processing, because if you do it post-processing, then you can focus on the pages in staged, and you don't have to worry about processing speed or anything like that. Those are just sanity measures, just to get it to existence. But there's a lot of people who have expressed a lot of interest in getting real time for good reason. And you are correct that this method of serial staged processing it will need adjusting if we want to do that. And the reality is it's probably going to be different tools for different jobs. Anyways, it's raw videos, sync videos, OpenPose data. This is all the data from OpenPose. This is actually not my favorite methodology. This is a problem because there are like hundreds and hundreds of small files in this folder, which is a problem for a lot of reasons. So I need to find a way to stuff those into like an H5 or something like that. I can do so many things. The reality is that I'm not. The reality is that I am actually not equipped to make any adjustments to how things like OpenPose works. Thank you, Tropical Geek. I love where your head's at, Micon, but I'm gonna keep pushing forward. M out. These are individual frames, and then the actual cherry on top, the actual thing that we love so well, is this little guy right here, which we click upon, and that's me.
Yes. I love the conversations about ways that the sort of identification of improvements and stuff like that. But also get the dang thing working first. I have a general principle. Another general principle is focus on things that don't exist before improving things that do exist. Yeah, it's just the problem is you'll one will drive themselves crazy. Thanks, Mordreker.
I wish this was. I don't love this visualization. It does the job, but I really prefer to have the videos next to it because I think that makes it much more compelling. But this is not bad. Especially this all ran through the GUI. There actually is a version of this that you're too cute. But yeah, so that's about where we're at. That's about the high water mark. Oh yeah. Were those showing in there? I didn't even notice them. I'm like my brain doesn't even see these, because a lot of this visualization was sort of based off of like this guy, like where the card is attached to a fixed point on the wall. It just plots the data. This is actually in front of me, but it looks like it's behind me because you have no sense of. It's that there's no depth cues here. The dots are being drawn in pixels, like whatever the default matplotlib pixel count is. I can't rotate it, unfortunately. Oh wait, it does rotate at the end. What is it? Is it E? Yeah. Did you know you can go frame by frame in VLC? Huh? The Magician Gur. You missed us making this recording that I ran through this pseudo GUI, which is just an IPython console. But look at me go. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty good. We're making progress. We're making legit progress. Is it B? In VLC, it's E. And you can't go backwards. No, it's the dots are wherever they were when I was holding it like this. So I think I was holding it like here or something like that. So they're there. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. This is OpenPose. MediaPipe wasn't working for some reason. Yeah, good stuff to work on. Okay, I am brain dead. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you all for showing up and participating in the chat. I think I'm gonna sign off. Thank you. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for sticking around. And yeah, glad you found me, Tropical Geek. I'm glad you like the project. It's been a lot of fun, and it's really cool to see it progressing, and it's really fun that it's now in a space that people are. Hi, Kazadi. Nice. Thanks for saying hi. But yeah, it's really exciting and gratifying to get this to a place where like it's really kind of being shared now. It's not yet. Again, we're moving towards a space where it's usable by Gen Pop. And it's not there yet, but we'll get there soon. We are within a couple of months, I think, from a viable system that anyone with a reasonable computer and a couple of webcams can use. And that's dope. Okay. I'm going to raid y'all over to someone. Who am I going to raid y'all over to?
I mean, this was just one but I was.
Oh, Diatom's attack. I'm going to send you to Diatom's attack. They are, yeah, they are, I think a chemistry. They do like biochemistry, but they're good. They're like another like academic person. Xiao, I can't read Chinese, but I think that first one is Xiao, but I'm not sure. But hello, welcome. Thank you for following. Biology. Biology. Okay, I'm so tired. Okay, raid. Diatoms attack. And yeah, see y'all next Thursday probably. Ah, that's the guy. That's the guy. That's you. I forgot that I added that person, that skull, as a thing. Oh man, that's great. God, what a cool logo. I'm so happy with how that worked. I forgot that I added that after the stream last week, because I was like, well, I guess like someone had followed, or what's the word? What's the word? Not followed, subscribed. I guess you subscribed. And I was like, oh, I should add the logo. And there it is. Wait, what? How did you do that? Oh, okay. How'd you make it have a little mouth? Have a little. What's. Oh. Ah, look at them. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Can I do this? Oh. Wow. Look at me go. Mycon has special abilities. How does Mycon do that? Special abilities. Wow, okay. I'm I'm happy that I saw that. I'm still gonna leave, but I'm really happy that this little friend. You can alter the point with channel points. Ah. Do I have channel points? I can't cheer in my own chat. Okay. Oh, do I have points? Oh. Oh. Okay. It's funny, like I really don't know how Twitch works. Very cool. Oh, he's so small. He's so squish. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, I'm gonna send y'all over to Diatom's attack, and then I'm gonna go hang out on my balcony and decompress, as they say. But thank you for staying around, and thanks to y'all's what are throwing skulls. They're all very good modifications. Oh, is that one black and white? Nice. What's this one? This one? This one's like someone's like, this is a heart, and I'm like, I'll take it. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Fractal Headache. That's you. Okay, what are we doing? Slash raid. Yeah, there it is. That's the guy. This one. That's cute. It is cute. I appreciate it. Raid. Diatoms attack. Is that right? Okay. All right, y'all are being loaded into the cannon, so you can be loaded over to Diatom's attack. Okay, guys, it's been great. Thank you to all y'all. We're here. Prepare your bodies for launch. Bye. Where'd you go? Well, there's no one actually here. Ah.